One of the primary objectives for my team and I when we conduct very dynamic, realistic conflict de-escalation training seminars is to always validate and affirm to the students going through the scenario stations what it is that they're saying and doing that is correct, so that they keep doing and saying those things. And then of course, after the big debrief is basically to share that information so that everyone's on the big page. And in that spirit, I'm putting together this little video to kind of share an interaction that my church safety security team had with an individual back in May 2023. It happened right here with an individual who became upset with the message that morning from the pastor. And I'm going to share how this incident evolved and how it absolutely highlights the need to work together as a team, how a situation, if you're not careful, can easily get escalated if you allow yourself to get sucked down a rabbit hole and become argumentative and so on. And also the importance of having a ministry mindset, especially if you're part of a church ministry team, whether it's church, safety, security, first impressions, ushers, greeters, or whatever. And again, even though this incident happened here at my church, the basic conflict de-escalation skills, concepts, tips, techniques is absolutely applicable everywhere you have human beings in contact with each other. Let's break the situation down. So this past May 2023, an individual got upset 30 minutes into the pastor's sermon. He was offended by what the message was about. Now the blessing is that he decided not to create a scene or a disturbance inside the sanctuary. 1,200 some people there in attendance. He decided to just leave the church. So he gets out and he's walking through the hallway heading towards these exits right here, and he's gesturing and he's mumbling loud enough where he could be heard. And one of our security guys standing over there at the end of the steps right there in the corner sees him and observes him coming out. Now there's a lot of people who are going to, in hindsight, 20/20 vision, start debating and arguing, well, if the person's angry and upset, why didn't you just leave him, let him walk out the building? Yeah, but the truth is, the reality is, in a church with ministry-minded people, you are going to offer a helping hand. You are going to offer a listening ear or a shoulder to cry on. And so we have an individual who seems to be upset about something, and our safety security guy doesn't know what it's about, but because he wants to see if he can help, he greets him, calls out to him, and well, you can see what happens. The individual decides to take that opportunity to just vent. And then when you see it on security video, he just locks himself right here and he starts gesturing and he starts getting loud and rude and upset, and he basically vents not only about the message, but he begins to just talk about everything else that's going on in the country, and he just starts going off about every little thing. Now, security guard number one realizes, wow, okay, I'm just going to let this guy vent. There's really nothing I can say or do right now that's going to change anything, and so he just stands there. Safety security volunteer number two is across the way right here, and he sees and observes a little something going on right here between his colleague and an individual who seems to be upset about something, who's loud, gesturing, and so on. So he walks on over to see if there's anything he can say or do to help, or even help de-escalate the situation. However, folks, this is where it gets tricky, because if you're not careful, you can find yourself being sucked down this rabbit hole where you begin to debate and argue with someone who in that moment is not in that place to have a rational discussion with you. And so what happens is safety security supervisor walks by and he sees and he hears that this situation is trending in the wrong direction based on body language, based on tone of voice, and based on the words being used, not only by the angry subject, but by our own safety security volunteers. This is trending in the wrong direction. People are getting argumentative and debating, and body language is becoming confrontational and antagonistic. Safety security volunteer calls for the pastor, one of our pastors who's part of the safety security team, so the both of them come up and make contact with our angry individual. This is where teamwork comes in. The other two safety security volunteers who were initially engaged, especially the one who was getting into this argumentative situation with him, recognize, fortunately, that this is the time to just disengage, break contact, and let the pastor and the other safety security volunteer supervisor take over the conversation. Now, this is also critical. They didn't just hang around and hover. Once they broke contact, walked away. If you can, If you're able to break contact and walk away from a person or a situation, do that. Because as long as you're still within view with someone who doesn't like you, you are going to continue to possibly escalate that situation. These two individuals recognized, okay, disengage, break contact, they walked away. They walked back to where they were originally assigned and let the pastor and the other safety security supervisor do the talking. Now, folks, this is where patience comes in. If you allow yourself to become impatient, frustrated, or offended, you're more likely than not going to be the one to say or do something that escalates it. Our pastor and his partner, they just ended up standing there and letting this guy do all the talking. Let him vent. People want to be treated with dignity and respect. One of the quickest, easiest ways that you can do that is just simply listen and let them vent. And so this guy ended up going off about not only the message, but everything else going on in the country and in the world, just going off. And it took about another 20 minutes. But in the end, when he was done venting, he was shaking their hands, he was apologizing for his behavior, and he walked away peacefully. That is and everyone went home safe, nothing got broken. That, folks, is a successfully, effectively de-escalated situation that could have gone off the rails. Now, how does that apply to you if you're working at your place of business or at the mall or whatever? When you're dealing with another angry person and so on, angry customer, angry client or whatever, let them vent. Take a long, slow, deep breath, stay calm yourself, and try to fight the urge, just fight that urge to try to get a word in edgewise, try to talk. Don't avoid talking over somebody. Avoid trying to make any comment initially. Just let them vent. Give them all the floor and time they need to burn off that energy, because chances are very good that once they come down from that stress level, you'll be able to have a rational conversation with them, probably figure out it's just a misunderstanding, and they'll end up apologizing for the behavior, or at the very least, walk away, and you can go home safe to your friends and family, and nothing gets broken. Effectively, successfully de-escalated situation. Ministry mindset. This situation happened to have happened at my church, but the concepts, the tips, the techniques are applicable across the board wherever human beings are in contact with each other. Slow down, take a deep breath, stay calm, engage by listening and eye contact, and avoid trying to talk over someone, and avoid getting argumentative and getting into a debate with someone. Let them come down from whatever stress level that they're at, and chances are much better that everyone will go home safe and nothing will get broken. Ministry mindset. Having empathy and compassion for your fellow man, and recognizing that you're still dealing with one of God's children who may be misguided, misinformed, or just having a bad day. But that should be no reason for anyone to handle them heavy-handedly, especially in church. And didn't Jesus say in the book of Matthew that, inasmuch as you did for one of the least of these, you also did unto me? Ministry mindset. We'll see you on the next video.